concept of jihad, in light of the Quran and Sunnah. Meaning of jihad. Jihad literally means to struggle to the fullest extent against something. As a concept in Islam, it means to struggle in the way of Allah Almighty and in service of His revealed way of life. Types of jihad. Number 1, jihad against the nafs, one's lower self. Number 2, jihad against the shaitan and his allies. Number 3, jihad against the disbelievers and the hypocrites. Jihad of the nafs. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "The mujahid is the one who strives against his nafs." Tirmidhi. The nafs is the desires and the wickedness that are part of one's lower self. It wants to rebel against Allah Almighty and the Messenger, peace be upon him. One must constantly be at jihad with their nafs and force, it to comply and submit to the will of Allah Almighty. This is the first pillar of jihad. Without this solid foundation, the rest of the building will collapse. Even when one has gained significant control over the nafs, they must constantly struggle to keep that control over it. This is an internal jihad for each believer, but it also has a collective element in terms of who you surround yourself with. Keeping good company will help you in this jihad.
وَإِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ كَانَ مِنَ الْجِنِّ فَفَسَقَ عَنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّهِ أَفَتَتَّخِذُونَهُ وَذُرِّيَّتَهُ أَوْلِيَاءَ مِن دُونِي وَهُمْ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌّ بِئْسَ لِلظَّالِمِينَ بَدَلًا.
Jihad against the shaitan and his allies.
إِنَّمَا ذَلِكُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ يُخَوِّفُ أَوْلِيَاءَهُ فَلَا تَخَافُوهُمْ وَخَافُونِ إِن كُنتُم مُّؤْمِنِينَ.
This is the bridge between the internal and physical jihad. This jihad can also be taken as a jihad of concepts and ideas, though it also has physical elements to it. When you adopt the concept of submission to Allah Almighty, there are those who have submitted to their nafs. When you preach Tawheed, there are those who preach shirk. You should expect shaitan and his allies, both from the jinn and humans, to oppose you. They will oppose you by presenting you with sin, disguised as good, by opposing the ideas you hold with opposing ideas. You must combat them by seeing through their deception and opposing them with your speech, writing, good character, and kind words. You must compel mankind to submit to the will of Allah Almighty with your words and actions. Jihad against the disbelievers and the hypocrites.
أُذِنَ لِلَّذِينَ يُقَاتَلُونَ بِأَنَّهُمْ ظُلِمُوا وَإِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلَى نَصْرِهِمْ لَقَدِيرٌ الَّذِينَ أُخْرِجُوا مِنْ دِيَارِهِمْ بِغَيْرِ حَقٍّ إِلَّا أَنْ يَقُولُوا رَبُّنَا اللَّهُ وَلَوْلَا دَفْعُ اللَّهِ النَّاسَ بَعْضَهُمْ بِبَعْضٍ لَهُدِّمَتْ صَوَامِعُ وَبِيَعٌ وَصَلَوَاتٌ وَمَسَاجِدُ يُذْكَرُ فِيهَا اسْمُ اللَّهِ كَثِيرًا وَلَيَنصُرَنَّ اللَّهُ مَن يَنصُرُهُ إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَقَوِيٌّ عَزِيزٌ. وَقَاتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ الَّذِينَ يُقَاتِلُونَكُمْ وَلَا تَعْتَدُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُعْتَدِينَ.
The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Verily, the most tyrannical of people to Allah Almighty is one who kills in the sacred mosque, one who kills those who did not fight him, and one who kills with the vindictiveness of ignorance." Musnad Imam Ahmad. The first verses of jihad to ever come down allow for it as a response to tyranny. It is against those who wish to fight you and harm you and your families, and the community of the believers, the Ummah. And even in this case, believers are not allowed to transgress, meaning that if the people who fight against the believers either submit to Allah Almighty or propose peace, then we are obligated to stop fighting them and prefer peace over war. The fighting is only allowed against those who fight against you, meaning women, children, religious figures, and even men who don't take up arms are not allowed to be harmed. The purpose of jihad cannot be destructive. It can only be to bring the word of Allah Almighty Islam to dominance and nothing else. Anything else added to this, it invalidated the jihad. Jihad is not against people's disbelief, but rather against their aggression.